So to make sugar fondant roses, you're going to need some fondant. You won't need that much, I've just got that much out. Ideally put some gum trag or CMC or Tylose powder in just to help with the drying process, make it dry harder. And then finally I use 2 of these are cut into rounds because I use them to line my cake tins, but these are cake tin liners. They're reusable ones. I think I got these from Lakeland in the UK. I'm sure that this sort of thing is available all over the world. It doesn't have to be a circle, it's just, as I say, it's cut that way because I line my 10-inch tins with it. And that's everything. So first of all, roll a small piece of fondant into a sausage and start by cutting a small piece off the end and then gradually cutting slightly larger pieces as you go along. So just move those out of the way and put one of the cake tin liners down. Now this first one I'm going to roll into a little tiny sausage on my hand and place that down. The rest of the pieces I'm going to roll into little balls and place them on the liner. Space them out so you've got a little bit of room because you are going to squash them down a bit. So place the second cake tin liner on the top and you start with the little sausage that you've made. This is going to be the very centre of the rose. So start by choosing which is going to be your upper edge and just pressing down, making that as thin as possible. You leave the bottom part slightly bulbous and make the top part as thin as possible. Now you need to do the same on all of the little round balls as well. As you can see, they squash down into sort of petal shaped pieces. Make that top edge really thin. I'll just speed this up a little bit so you can see, because the process is the same on every piece. So once you've squashed them all down, first off you pick up the first one that you squashed, the little sausage shaped one, and really carefully you can see that the edge is very thin there. It looks quite petal like. So from the bottom, don't squash the top, but from the bottom start rolling it. You can see, leave the top quite open, and that's kind of like the very centre of the rose. Then you can pick up your first petal and just tuck it inside the end of that first roll and keep rolling it round again from the bottom. You need to do that with all of these petals. Just tuck each one into the end of the last one until you've used all the petals. And there you can see you have a small sort of rose, as if you could use that just as a kind of unopened rose, a really small one that hasn't kind of opened all the way. So just roll down the tops of each petal to give it more of a lifelike effect, and you can see you've got a really nice small rose there. Now you've got the option of making it a little bit bigger, which I'm going to do by taking another roll of fondant, giving it a good squidge, getting rid of all the creases, roll it into a sausage and cut gradually larger pieces. I'm going to do 4 here, so you can see that the pieces got gradually larger as I went along. So again, I'll just speed it up, just roll them into little balls, and at this stage I'm just going to give them a little bit of a squash between my hands before I put them down, just to speed up the process. And again, put the top back on, and with the pressure on your fingertip, flatten out the top edge. You can now pick the original rose up and just peel the last petal back a little bit so that you can start inserting these new petals. You see how quick and easy this is to get a lovely rose quite quickly. And the final one, tuck that in there. And again, just roll over the tops of the petals just to make them, I give them a little tiny pinch between my fingers to make it look a bit more lifelike. Apologies for the bleeding on the, not me bleeding, the colour of the rose bleeding, but I hope you can see there that that's a nice little rose. You can leave that to dry and that can be placed on top of a cake. So thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please do like and subscribe.